Hey guys, today's layout is a layout documenting fishing gone wrong and our trip to the ER. Hi, I'm Katie Taylor at scrappinkaty.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. So here's a look at the photos I'll be using today. I will be adding a whole lot more photos as well as a video that I'll do off camera because of the sensitivity of the photos. And I am using the Lake Life paper collection mainly for the stickers and then the paper and the mix-ins. I'll also be using a sketch on page 20 of the Creative Design Team Volume 2 12 by 12 sketchbook, so this layout will come together fairly quickly. I have a piece of white daisy cardstock and I'm just going to start laying down some pieces of pattern paper along that left edge. Now I am using my Versamat just to make sure that those are lining up top to bottom, and these will go flush as well. And then I'm going to come back through with some acorn cardstock, and this is going to serve as the photo mat for my photos. Now, I usually like to do both layout bases first before I start embellishing. So this is the right layout. Again, it just kind of sandwiches this large square, and that is centered onto that white daisy cardstock. So I'm going to bring out my T-ruler and just make sure that this square is straight. I am at a scrapbooking retreat, and so I usually scrapbook standing up, but for this retreat or for this layout, I am sitting down, which is a little bit hard to see whether things are straight or not. So there is a zip strip that comes on one of the pattern papers from Lake Life, and it has these fish. I'm just going to trim this off so I can use some of it on the right layout. And then I'm going to attach it right above this photo mat. I do wish the fish were pointed the other direction, and I did try to do the zip strip upside down, thinking it wouldn't matter, but you really could tell on these fish. So I'm going to bring in that little piece that I cut off, and I'm going to tuck that behind the square on the right layout, and then bring the left layout over to line those up to make sure they're straight. And then that way I can just trim off that excess. On this layout, I am going to do quite a bit of stamping, and so I'm going to start with the Art of Texture stamp set, and there is the splatter. I used it on a layout a video or two ago, and I'm inking that up in Sage ink, and I'm going to start with just putting it at the top and the bottom of this photo mat, and then go ahead and get my photos adhered down. I will tell you the story of these photos here in just a little bit, so stick around. And then I am going to bring in the Spotlight on Nature dies. I absolutely love these die cuts, and I've die cut some of the mix-in collection, and those are going to be anchors for some of the embellishments. So these are some of the Say Something ephemera pack, and I'm just looking at some of those sentiment pieces. I'm going to grab some of those, and I'm also going to be using some sentiments from the Lake Life sticker sheet as well. And then I have already off camera, I've punched out some from the Labels and Layers ephemera, and then the Something for Everything ephemera. And then you also can use your die cut envelopes to store all the extras once you open those envelopes. So I'm going to start picking out the stickers from the sticker sheet that I want to use, and I'm putting them over onto my anti-static pouch. That way I can use 3D foam tape to adhere those down. While I am doing that and trying to figure out where things go, I kind of want to tell you the story of these photos. So last weekend, our youngest son decided to go fishing with his friends, which is nothing new. But in doing so, his lure got stuck, and as he was yanking it free from the bush or the twig or whatever that was in the water that it was stuck on, it bounced back and it actually hooked his nose. So I got a call from the ER telling me that my son was in there. He is a minor, and so they were asking if I could consent for treatment. Well, if you have boys, I don't know if your boys have ever done this, but each one of my boys has done, and on numerous occasions, they think it's funny to call me and think of this bogus story, whether it is pulled over for speeding, friends break their arms, you name it, I have heard it. And so I did not believe these doctors and nurses. And I ended up having to talk to my son, and he solidified that. So then, of course, 11 o'clock at night, I am running up to the emergency room to see what this was all about. And this is what I walk into. So, of course, I had to document the story because no one believes that he hooked himself, so to speak. And then I just loved that I had this Lake Life paper that I could document this with because, again, no one's going to believe it. So I have just kind of done the grouping on this circle, and I've pulled out the fish and then some of the sentiments, and then now I'm pulling out these textured dots and I'm adding those. And then I am going to pull out that right layout. I'm kind of to the point where I need to start embellishing the right layout before I get too far because I have some embellishments that need to span both of them. That way they kind of look cohesive. So I'm going to attach the two 4x6s. Again, there are so many more photos, and then they had to put him under. So of course, when he was coming out, I did some videoing of him talking and, hallucinating, so to speak. And I will do that with a QR code on one of the other layouts. Now, I'm not going to show the other photos, again, because of the sensitivity of the photos. I don't really want YouTube to ban me. I don't want people to get offended. And then, of course, the video is just kind of one of those family things. I am going to be posting some of it on social media just because he's just such a sweet kid, and I loved what he had to say on numerous occasions. But I'll leave a video linked down below where I show you how you can link a video with a QR code. It's super easy, super fun. As you're flipping through your layout, you just scan the QR code and it takes you to the video. So this little bottom cluster, I am trying to include everything I included on the left cluster. So I've got the pennants, I've got the circle, I've got the two fish, and then I've got these little sentiments that I'm going to adhere down. So this good luck also came from those ephemera packs. And then the little sticker underneath that yellow one says relax, because he is about to get the medicine that is going to knock him out. So I thought that was really funny. I'm having a hard time kind of finding the titles and everything else that I had with close to my heart with Stampin' Up, but I am making do. And by using these ephemera packs, it's really getting easier, so to speak. So I'm going to add those stamped images over to the right, again, keeping with the cohesiveness of both of the layouts. I am going to pull out that left layout and I'm going to start working on the title. Now for the title, I have pulled out really the only alphabet stamp that I brought with me, and I'm going to use the back side of my Versamat and some pine ink. This alphabet is the Havana alphabet. It's kind of whimsical. Again, it's really the only one I brought with me to the retreat. Plus, my title's going to be somewhat long, so I needed to use a smaller alphabet. I am going to start with the last letter, and then that repeats on the bottom. Again, inking that up in pine ink, and then just start spelling out the title, which is going to be Look What I Caught. Now, for the K up top, I should have straightened that up a little bit, but it's just going to have to do at this point. So I'm going to stamp the I, and then I am done with the stamp. And I am going to bring out some wooden shapes. Specifically, I'm looking for some arrows. I didn't think that I had any fish, but the arrows in the end really fill up all of those spaces that were left over from my title not being as long as what I thought it was going to be. So I'm just kind of drafting these. There is this arrow down at the bottom that has this little heart. So I've cut some sage cardstock and I'm just going to back that heart with that sage cardstock and then go ahead and get that adhered down. Like I mentioned, the arrows are kind of twofold. They are filling up some of the space from the title. They are bringing in that natural element to this kind of outdoorsy layout. And then some of them are also going to hide the stamp that I used. Remember, it's paint splatter. And the more and more I used it, it actually kind of looked like water droplets. So I've tried to hide that largest little dot on there just to kind of make it look more like water. This is one of the texture stamps from the Art of Texture, and I've just stamped that over that wood. I love that you can add either color to the wood or like here the stamp, just kind of adding just a little bit more than just plain wood. And of course I'm inking that up in Acorn ink. Now for the right layout, I'm bringing that arrow over as well as, I don't know if you saw, but I pulled out some stars. And they're not true stars, but they were definitely good fillers. So I'm just going to be adding those here and there to this right layout. And then I'll have to bring out the left layout and then just add a couple of more. But you'll see at the end of this video when you see the still shots or the photos of this layout, I think that these wooden elements just add so much to these little clusters. So I'm pretty much done with that. Again, here's where I'm adding some more stars to that left layout up at the top. There was a large, a medium, and a small. So I pretty much stuck with the medium and the small, and I did not ink up the stars. Now, in looking at this layout, it just needed something more. So there is the stamp that is Cheerful Daisies, and what's meant to be the stem of the daisies, I'm actually using kind of like in a log. I did use pine ink just to kind of ground. There's so much of that dark word pattern that it needed some more dark on this layout. And so I thought by just inking up this little twig all the way around, that it would kind of bring in and break up all of that dark that's toward the middle. So you see that I'm just going end to end. When I do get to the end, I am using some 3D or some 3M removable label tape just to kind of mask off those ends because I don't want them going off. I want this layout pretty contained. And then I'm just bringing those layouts together to make sure that if any stamping goes over them, then it looks like it's continuous. So I'm going to finish off this little top at the, or this little stamp at the top. And then on this left layout, I am going to be turning that sideways and then just stamp these twigs all along the side. Now, hindsight, this little twig actually fits perfectly, not only the length of the 24 inches, but the 12 inches as well. So here is a close-up look of all the little clusters. I absolutely love those little fish. And then of course the stamping on the wood arrows. And you can see where I backed that heart with sage ink. And then here is a look at that right layout. Again, love those wood elements near those clusters. I will leave everything linked down below that I used for this layout, as well as that video that will show you how to add a QR code to your layout. So you can just scan that and immediately be taken to a video to further enhance your memory keeping. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, share with your friends, leave me a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend.